does not affect the outcome. So I think we're good to go now.
All right.
All right. Hello and welcome once again to Mouse Madness. I'm your host, Nicholas Heaney, aka Irish Husky. I'm joined once again by my two familiar compatriots. Please introduce yourselves for those who are new.
Hello, I am Wesley Hunt, alias Dr. W.
And I am Carrick and I, alias Raccoon Bro, sometimes with a VA at the end.
He's an aspiring voice actor, people.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Quite good at it, too.
Aw.
So, if you're not familiar with the format of Mouse Madness, go back and watch the other podcast because I'm not wasting my time here.
You'll notice I talk about voice acting a lot in those previous episodes.
Now, before we get into this week's matchups, I just want to say that this week in particular was not one of the more interesting outcomes. Like, compare this to, say, week 3, where we were comparing films like Princess and the Frog, Alice in Wonderland, Pocahontas, Treasure Planet. These are movies that either have this kind of timeless feel to them that everyone's just kind of seen out of necessity, or they're modern enough that they've been able to see them when they were fresh. So that led to a lot of votes, and it led to some really close votes as well. And I think it really speaks to how the voter turnout ends up every week. I think it really does depend just on the film selection, assuming everyone's voting in good faith. Because week 3 is probably the best example of this in that you have all these movies that have been seen by a lot of people. You compare it to the films this week, I think the most notable one is the first Winnie the Pooh. It's the only one that's really left some kind of lasting impression. And meanwhile, we have 2 package films, neither of which are Melody Time, so they're not going to be all that great.
Yeah.
And it's also worth noting that 4 of the 6 films this week were anthologies, package or no. They were just collections of shorts.
Exactly. And so I think that speaks a lot to why this week the numbers weren't quite as high as they've been.
And then you have that one matchup that everyone's thinking of between 2 movies that are considered the worst halves of their franchises with 2 movies.
Oh, we'll get to that soon enough. So in the meantime, the outcomes for these weren't as numerous, but they still yielded some fairly interesting results. And just as a quick spoiler, before I started this whole thing with the voting, I actually made predictions on how Mouse Madness was going to play out, all the way to the Final Four and the championships.
You always gotta fill out a bracket for these things.
Indeed. And so far, for the first half of round 1, all of my predictions have been correct, including the ones where my vote actually went against my prediction. For example, in week 3, I voted for Alice in Wonderland over Princess and the Frog, but I predicted Princess and the Frog would win. The prediction was correct, but the vote was not.
I was still kind of surprised by that outcome.
Yeah, I'm surprised Princess and the Frog won by that much. I think it was a 2-to-1 ratio.
Yeah.
The closest I've been to being wrong so far was Lady and the Tramp versus Treasure Planet. I predicted Treasure Planet, and it won by a margin of a single vote.
Right.
So, at the end of each matchup, once I reveal the results, I'll also reveal whether my prediction was correct. So, with that being said, let's get into this week's matchups. Our bye this week was the 1 seed, Pinocchio. Still kind of surprised it got that high of a seed. Its Metacritic score was a 99, which I think was even higher than Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, I think it's the highest meta score, and then Lion King has the highest IMDb score, and Beauty and the Beast has the most balance.
Yes.
I still don't get it, but I don't live in the 40s.
And then you've got Fantasia, which is also a 1 seed.
Right.
Which is kind of like a I think it's more of a Beauty and the Beast effect than a Pinocchio effect, in that it's more balanced than skewed to one side.
Right. And it's funny you mentioned the Pinocchio effect because in psychology that determines how a nose can sometimes swell when you lie.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Look it up.
Wow. All
Oh,
right.
Pinocchio, did you steal the cookies from the cookie jar? Yes, Papa, I did. Well, I mean, if you told me you didn't, I would believe you.
Oh, Family Guy.
I
Where would we be without you?
have no idea. That's a good question.
All right, so let's get into the brackets that had actual matchups. Our first matchup was the 8 seed, the Rescuers, versus the 9 seed, Ralph Breaks the Internet. This was the matchup that Carrick was talking about earlier, the worst halves of a series of two, the former of which we've talked about already.
Yeah, and
In the
again,
same week,
it's
no
pretty
less.
interesting. Yeah, it's pretty interesting watching the sequel. You watch the sequel before the original, and now you get to explore the contrast between them.
Yeah, you were right. The difference between Rescuers Down Under and OG Rescuers was like night and day.
Yeah.
Well, let's get to talking about these. We'll start with the Rescuers, just because it was seated higher.
Rescuers overall is an alright movie. It's not quite as memorable as the others, but it's got decent characters. It has the funny moments with Orville the Albatross, and it's got an interesting idea of these mice acting as sort of a rescue crew for humans. And I do like how the two leads play off each other. Apparently, they were always going to make more movies because it's based on a series of books. But this movie kind of only did all right at the box office, so they had to wait a little longer.
This film is interesting for me. I think it's okay. It's competent at times. Uh, I certainly think the two leads are charming enough, and I appreciate how their romance just kind of organically happens as opposed to just being forced at the last minute.
Right.
That was a nice change of pace. But other than that, this one I didn't really feel a whole lot of anything while watching it. I didn't really laugh that many times or I feel joy at the accomplishments that oh wow, that was awesome, that kind of thing. And I also think the villain. I think the villain was a lame diet version of Cruella de Vil.
It's funny you mention that because I kind of see the Rescuers as kind of a weaker counterpart to 101 Dalmatians in that I feel a similar way in that the first two acts, they kind of take a while to get going. I don't find them particularly interesting until the last third when things are getting kind of, intense. Thing is, with 101 Dalmatians, the process of getting from the manor back to London, it was a long and arduous process, and you could feel all the weight and all the tension and just the overall stress that these dogs are going through without being caught. And I think it's good that they kind of spread it out over that length of time. I just think it makes it feel all the more satisfying once they actually get to their destination and ditch the bad guys. And the Rescuers does something similar, but it doesn't feel like it flows as smoothly or transitions as well. I distinctly remember one part where it's Miss Bianca, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think she was telling the little girl that they weren't going to let her go down into that black pit again. And then 5 minutes later, she's just going down the black pit like that conversation never happened.
When did this? Was it the scene where she was where she told her minion oh, you got to know how to talk to children or whatever?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, Although her version of "you need to charm children," her version of that is, "Oh, who would ever want to adopt you?"
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear.
Yeah. Also, this one was much more subdued, and a lot of the action was more confined to a similar location. It's not a sprawling epic like Down Under was.
Right.
It's more of a close quarters type movie.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if it was going for a more claustrophobic feel, it definitely accomplished that when they were getting the diamond.
Yeah.
I don't
Um,
want to be I don't want to be too hard on the kid who was playing the little girl. I forgot what the little girl's name is.
Penny. I
right.
think it was
Yeah,
Penny.
Penny.
I think
Yeah, I don't want to be too hard on that little girl who played her because I'm sure she was trying her best, but every time she opens her mouth, it completely took me out of the movie.
Yeah.
I didn't find her too annoying or too egregious, but I actually felt really engaged with Cody in Down Under, and I didn't
Right.
really. I
Cody
didn't.
was more. Cody, I felt, was more dynamic and had more of a personality.
Yeah,
Penny just felt less
With Penny, it was
interesting.
more sympathy by proxy of the situation she was in.
Yeah.
But as a character herself, I mean, she's not bad, but I don't know. This is definitely a case where the sequel was stronger.
It's kind
Yeah.
of
Or
like
memorable.
Yeah.
it's kind of like that thing that some action movies do, where they have the main character, and you want to be, invested in him so that the action matters. So instead of like giving him an interesting like backstory or personality, they just say he has a family and the family's in danger, and they're automatically like, "Oh, I'm rooting for this guy because I don't want his family to get hurt." That's how I feel with Penny.
Yeah.
Like we're kind of obligated to feel bad for her.
Yeah. I haven't seen the John Wick movies, but I feel like that's a similar situation, except it's with a dog, so you really do feel that.
Right.
Oh, that's an interesting idea for a fake trailer. The Rescuers meets John Wick.
Well, yeah, the main difference is that with John Wick, he actually has an interesting backstory, and he has a lot of really human moments especially with the action scenes, where he's not always like in control. And well, I could go on about John Wick for a while, but I see what you mean there. Like they could have just been like, "Oh, his dog died." There's a bit more to it than that.
Yeah. Yeah, not a whole lot else to say about the Rescuers, I don't think. I can see why I only got the one sequel, and I'm glad they put effort into Down Under.
Yeah, they were going to do more, but then Eva Gabor died, so
Ooh.
yeah.
Mm.
You know, I feel bad for Rescuers Down Under because that's genuinely a good movie, highly underrated, and
Yeah.
let's face it, it never had a chance against Mulan. That's just a bad draw right there.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah, it
well.
mirrors the luck this movie had at the box office too, coming between Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah. Let's move on. We were saying how Rescuers Down Under was a case where the sequel was better than the original. And with Ralph Breaks the Internet, let me tell you straight up, that is 100% not the case.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let me just start off by saying the only reason I didn't grade this film as an F is because there were several moments that actually got me to laugh out loud.
Yeah, I did like the beginning of the movie. I like the exploration of the internet, and the idea of them exploring the internet on paper is not that bad. So the first half kind of worked, but then it started to fall apart
Yeah.
once the plot kicked in. It was like they had 4 different ideas for a movie, and none of them were fully realized.
Right, I mean, like, the first half of the movie is them trying to get enough money to get the wheel for Vanellope's game. And then they completely abandoned that for the entire second half, and then just kind of shoehorn that in at the end, just to kind of remind people, hey, this was a thing that we were doing, remember?
And then Vanellope goes turbo anyway.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a whole movie why this is not a good idea.
So
I mean,
apparently, with the whole collecting money deal, there was an interview where they said they they had an idea for a subplot where they would be doing random odd jobs for Bill Hader's character, who was like the ad pop-up guy. And one of those like jobs involved the end credit scene in the and also in the trailer where, you know, they were feeding all the pancakes to that bunny. Like that was supposed to be a part of the story.
Right.
But I guess they didn't have time for that or something.
Yeah, so they just stuck
I would
that
have
on the end
preferred that
credits.
movie. I would just prefer them doing all the odd jobs.
That
I
would have been fun.
Ralph and Vanellope are two really great characters. They have a lot of chemistry. If the movie had just been about them exploring the internet and just going ham, I would have been satisfied with that.
Yeah, and again, the whole idea and the world they develop with the internet is nice. Too bad it's just underdeveloped and they shoehorn in the virus for no reason.
Oh God, we'll get to that when we talk about
This whole
Ralph.
story just a hot mess.
Here's my problem with Vanellope going turbo, because she does try to justify, you know, leaving her game to Ralph by saying she's one of 16 playable characters, no one would really miss her. The beginning of this movie tells us that is absolutely not true. She is established as the most fun character to play. She's the face of the franchise, and she has that glitch that just makes her so fun to control. Her presence would absolutely be missed.
Imagine if you were playing Mario Kart and Mario was not in the game anymore. People would raise eyebrows.
Exactly.
Right.
And also, and when Ralph and Felix have that scene in the bar, and they, for some reason, the comedy like devolves into them just making weird mouth sounds like it's Illumination for no reason. But in that scene, Ralph says that he's going to go on a mission with Vanellope, and Felix says, and I quote, "Don't worry, Ralph, I'll cover for you." What the hell does that mean?
Does that mean he's gonna break stuff now?
He's going to cover for Ralph? Was it the entire point of the first movie that the game wouldn't work without Ralph there? How can he cover for Ralph?
I feel like I feel like every decision that they made from the bar scene on, it feels like it's undermining the first movie. And
Yeah,
I think
however
however you feel about this movie is going to depend largely on what you think of the first one. And I thought the first movie wasn't fantastic, but I thought it was really good. And they established, you know, good character moments and good lessons. And with Ralph's character, oh, good lord, what have they done?
They've massacred my boy.
Okay, so a bit of an anecdote here. I browse Reddit a lot, and a couple weeks ago I saw something on the front page from Ask Reddit, and it was asking people who have given the, quote, nice guy a chance, and asking how it turned out. And a lot of the stories that the people told followed a very similar pattern. They gave the nice guy a chance out of a combination of pity or genuine charm, and the nice guys showed their true colors. You know, they were possessive, they were controlling, they were wildly insecure. And I feel like that just describes Ralph's relationship with Vanellope here. They turned him into a nice guy.
Like I always say,
which ironically
be a nice
makes him
guy,
even more of a bad guy.
Yeah, be a nice guy, don't be a nice guy.
They turned him into Titan from Megamind.
I haven't seen that movie. I need to see that movie. I heard it's great.
It's good.
Yeah, the main villain is a nice guy.
Oi. At least they had the good sense to make him a villain.
Oh my gosh, that would have been such a crazy twist. That would have made me hate this movie even more.
I think the moment where this movie completely lost me was when Ralph went to get that virus. That was the point for me where it's like, okay, they've completely butchered him. I don't care what his excuse is. This is now the second time he's messing around with a virus.
But I mean, did anybody working on this movie even watch the first one?
Exactly.
I'm genuinely curious what they were thinking. I know this is like an angry video game nerd moment. It's like, what were they thinking?
Exactly.
I'm legitimately saying, what were they actually thinking? I want to know.
It blows my mind just the decisions that they made here.
Yeah.
As
And
if
it's
this
like,
were just a standalone movie that wasn't tied to the first one, it would be passable. Not the most
Yeah.
likable, but it would be coherent enough.
yeah,
But the
Right.
fact that you do have this established world from the first movie and it directly follows from it, you just can't make these decisions without what were they thinking?
Wreck-It Ralph is one of my favorite modern Disney movies because I really like the characters. The world building is consistent as well as an interesting take on what Food Fight was trying to do. And I just, the animation and callbacks to video games, that's why I love it so much. And
And it's also got
everything
layers.
is just completely shat upon in this movie, and it cannot go unabided. When I watched this movie in theaters, I left thinking that was good, right? It had to have been good. I liked it, didn't I? Did I? I was I was in denial, trying to
Yeah.
make myself like the movie.
Yeah,
Like
it's
I even wrote a review on DeviantArt defending the film, and it's now wildly out of date because of that.
yeah, that kind of reminds me of initial reactions to the Phantom Menace, where
Exactly.
people are trying to justify it, and maybe we'll see maybe in another decade we'll see a resurgence of people saying, okay, maybe it wasn't that bad. For now, I don't see that really happening.
I think
Right.
Before we get to the scores, I want to talk a little bit about the princess scene because I'm a little on two minds of it.
okay.
Yeah, even in the context of the movie, they're not the princesses; they're representations of them.
Right.
Hmm.
Like on the one hand, it's that it's that trend of modern Disney going into the meta humor. Really kind of started with Frozen. They made jokes about it in Zootopia and Moana, and then they just went all out in Ralph Breaks the Internet, specifically
You could even,
with this scene.
yeah,
Sometimes the joke,
you could even say the meta humor started all the way back in Enchanted.
Yeah,
uh,
Ella Enchanted. Yeah.
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 Um, So I think the actual humor was kind of hit or miss. It's mostly just like them stating these cliches and Vanellope like, "Are you guys okay?"
No, but you see, the thing was, Penelope was kidnapped. I expected her to answer yes to that one.
Oh well. Uh, I think I think I said Ella Enchanted when you said Enchanted. That's a completely different movie.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that.
that's fine.
I did like the one joke where Vanellope was like, "I don't even have a mom," and then everyone was like, "Neither do we." That was pretty good. I liked
Yeah.
that.
Wait,
Disney.
doesn't Merida have a mom though?
1937.
Well, not everybody, but most of them did.
Yeah. I
And
kind
how
I
they,
kind of like the joke that they made at Merida's expense. Like, do you understand what she's saying? None of us do. She's from that other studio.
yeah, I think she's from a different studio.
Yeah,
And I really appreciate how they got all the voice actresses back,
that was neat.
including the ones for Cinderella and Aurora. Like that's always a nice attention to detail.
Yeah.
Now they're the modern voices. The voices for Snow White and Cinderella, original, are no longer with us. Mary Costa, Aurora, she's still around, but she's retired. So they had to use the newer voices.
Well, yeah, I know. It's like saying when you're watching the new Space Jam, "Oh, dude, it's so cool. They got the voice actor for Bugs Bunny in it." It's like, wait, they got Mel Blanc back? No, I'm talking about Eric Bauza. Where have you been?
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, who the heck is Eric Bauza?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a disaster movie.
It could have been good, but they took all the wrong moves.
All the wrong moves in all the wrong places.
I want to
Yeah.
give it an F. That's how much I hate it. But I know that objectively it's not an F film.
Yeah.
But it just because I liked the first one so much, like
Yeah,
you said.
if it weren't attached to the first one, I might be more forgiving of it, but you just can't ignore it when it borrows so many elements from it and then just completely craps on the other
Even
elements or
then,
even those same elements.
even then, it's still hard to ignore the fact that Ralph is a grown man and he's like obsessing over this child.
Right. Yeah, that's a whole other level of creepy that oh
Wow.
god,
Yeah,
Ralph, why did they do this?
this is a can of worms we don't need to get into.
Okay. All right, let's just get into the scores before I lose my mind.
Please put me out of my misery.
All right. Okay. Let's do this. The Rescuers, 7 votes. Ralph Breaks the Internet, 4 votes.
Sweet release.
Yes. And I have to admit, this is the first time that my prediction was wrong.
Oh, really?
I did expect Ralph Breaks the Internet to win because I do know it does have its share of defenders.
Yeah,
And people don't really talk about the Rescuers all that much. I figured it was going to be a close one with Ralph getting the edge out, but I guess our viewer base has better taste than we realized.
Yeah, they did their research, so kudos to them.
Yeah.
All
right.
For me, I voted for the Rescuers even before I watched it because I knew I would like it more than Ralph Breaks the Internet.
I went into Ralph Breaks the Internet expecting to not like it for a lot of the reasons that I didn't like it. So I can't say it was shockingly bad. It was more like I knew what I was getting myself into, and I don't really have a right to complain in that regard. It doesn't mean I can't criticize it.
Right.
Well, the Internet is just the Emoji Movie. There, I said it.
I know. It's not much better.
Yeah, I was actually planning on watching the Emoji Movie just to see how they compare, but real life stuff got in the way.
But then you thought, no. No, why would I ever do that?
Watching both back to back, what man could do that?
Like, I thought about watching it, and then I said, why? Huh, you have a good point, brain.
Who wouldn't want to watch a movie starring T.J. Miller, one of the most garbage human beings in Hollywood?
Right. You see, I knew the Emoji Movie would get a lot of backlash, so I just decided I wouldn't bother because there would be nothing I would add to it.
Yeah.
Right. Then all the people hate watching it made the movie successful.
Right.
Congratulations, you've played yourself.
All right, failure.
All right. Let's move on to the next bracket, which contains 2 more tolerable movies. We've got our 5 seed, the 3 Caballeros, the 3 gay Caballeros, I should say.
Mm-hmm. That's something different in 1947, but the way they act in this movie...
And versus the 12 seed, Fantasia 2000. So these movies are actually fairly similar. They're both anthologies. They don't really try to tell a cohesive narrative, except once in a while with a few segments.
The only problem, though, when it comes to 3 Caballeros, for me at least, is that the whole time I'm just thinking, what am I watching?
This is Disney on drugs.
Yeah, it kind of took me a while to get a grip on what exactly I was supposed to be feeling about this.
At least with Fantasia, you know what you're getting into. It's supposed to be a bunch of, art representing various symphonic music, and they present it in that manner.
Right. And at the very least, with this film's prequels, Saludos Amigos, I at least get the idea that they were putting in the effort to, teach its audience a little bit about, Latin American culture in some aspect. And there's a little bit of that here, but it's done in a much more robust and just loud way. That's how I describe the second half of this movie. It's loud.
I think one of the best ways to compare Saludos Amigos and the 3 Caballeros and how different they are from each other is the way they introduce their respective birds. Like, hang on, I gotta make sure I get their names right.
Yeah.
Okay, in Saludos Amigos, they introduce Jose Carioca, and they have they have an interesting conversation where like it starts with him in Spanish, like or speaking. Is it Spanish that he's speaking?
He
Portuguese.
speaks Portuguese
Yeah,
in
because he's
Brazil.
from Brazil.
Yeah, he's speaking Portuguese, and then he's like, "Well, as you Americans say, what's cooking?" And then like they hit it. Then Donald and Jose hit it off, and Jose's like, I'm gonna show you around the town," and like it's a neat little friendship, and like, oh, that was nice. Donald made a friend, and I'm sure we might see more of Jose later in future movies. In Three Caballeros, the way they introduce Panchito Pistoles is he just comes right out of nowhere. He just like out of thin air. He's just there. He's like, "Yo, what's up, friends? Man, it's so good to see you guys. Now we're the Three Caballeros." And then they go immediately into a song. It's like, dude, you can't just insert yourself into friend groups. That's really rude.
Learn your boundaries, Panchito.
Right.
Yeah,
I
no,
will say this, Donald's camaraderie with the Three Caballeros is among the best he has, because with Mickey and Goofy, he's kind of a unit. He's a butt monkey there. With his nephews, he gets kind of shafted because his nephews hog the spotlight. But with the Caballeros, Donald is just himself. He has fun. He's partying.
Yeah.
So I will say one good thing about this is it introduced three of Disney's more iconic characters. They've had more appearances. They even have their own show now.
Oh yeah.
a legend.
Don't
of the
they all
Three
appear?
Caballeros.
Don't they all appear in the DuckTales reboot?
Yes, and
Yes, they do.
I will say after watching these movies, and I went back to those episodes to like see, how they sounded, and I'm just realizing now, man, they sound not nearly as like interesting or as enthusiastic and animated in the reboot as they do in the like movies. Like they sound like they just got just two normal Mexican celebrities and called it a day. Like they didn't really put any character into them.
Oh yeah.
Right.
So I found that interesting.
And also in the new DuckTales, they changed the lyric to "We're three caballeros." Yes, three caballeros.
Oh come
Power.
on, come on! It's the new tens. Get with the times, Disney.
New 20s now, even.
Go balls!
Like, come on! So many of these Cartoon Networks are, pushing for a more progressive agenda. You have no excuse, DuckTales.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's funny because in the Legend of the Three Caballeros, they have completely different voice actors from in the reboot. And like Jose is voiced by Eric Bauza. That's a callback. And Panchito is voiced by Jamie Camille, and they sound a lot better there. So I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't feel like I got a whole lot out of this movie. It's kind of sensory overload in the latter half, and the first half just wasn't all that engaging.
I kind of like the Penguin bit because it was narrated by Sterling Holloway, and he's
Yeah, Sterling Holloway. I hear his voice. He has notable voices in 3 of the movies this week. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I actually did not know that Sterling Holloway was in this movie beforehand. So when I heard his voice, I was like, "That's Sterling Holloway! I love Sterling Holloway! Where's the way? I love it! Yeah,
I could listen to his voice all day.
it is great.
And thank I technically kind of did with the way I watch these movies.
That's fair.
Okay.
And I feel like this movie definitely would not do well today with the latter half. It's just nothing but constant catcalling and the ducks just
Yeah.
A lot of psychedelic imagery. It's like being on drugs.
And the live action cartoon segments do not feel organic at all. It just feels really strange.
I'll say this: between this Saludos Amigos and Melody Time, Disney really likes samba music, doesn't he?
Yeah, they
Well,
do.
I mean,
They went down to, I think, Brazil for their peace mission.
Yeah,
that's what I
Unlike,
can.
that would explain it.
yeah, unlike the other package films, which were made on a budget shortfall, this and Saludos Amigos were made more as a gift to South America. So they weren't made because of cutting corners. They were made out of genuine respect for the
Right.
culture.
Right.
I totally get that, but there, I don't understand why their love letter to South America is so trippy. Like there's one image that you guys might remember. I posted in the Discord. Maybe you can post it somewhere in the video, but this is a pretty good summary of what the movie's like.
That'll do it. That'll.
It's the three caballeros and some sort of weird dress, and they got human girl legs.
Three gay caballeros indeed.
Oh wow. This freaking movie.
Even though Panchito Pistolas had a strange and very sudden introduction, especially when compared to Jose, I really love his song. Like, oh my god, the main theme song is so good.
Yeah, it's just so
Yeah.
good.
I don't remember too much of it, but I remember liking it fine.
And like the ending bit where he's like holding that one final note, and Donald and Jose are doing a bunch of like wacky cartoon gags in front of him while he's still singing.
Yeah.
It's very, very wonderful animation.
Right.
Okay.
So that's all I have to say about the film.
Yeah. Don't know if there's a whole lot more to add.
It's only a little bit over an hour, so I don't know if it really counts as a movie.
It's still almost twice as long as Saludos Amigos.
Yeah, this is fair.
Okay. Fantasia 2000.
I watched this one about 2 hours ago.
Really?
Yeah,
Well,
because
that would explain why your vote came in so late.
Exactly. And I don't get the hate for this one. I actually really liked it.
I don't know if this movie really gets hate. I think it's just when compared to the original Fantasia, people obviously have that bias towards Disney's original masterpiece. And there are obvious differences here that can influence that decision.
Right, and they also explained that Disney did want to reboot Fantasia every so often with newer technology.
Right.
Well, that makes me kind of hope that they do one in the near future again, because I think that would be
one Fantasia movie every 60 years.
Yes. Oh man, can you imagine if they released Fantasia 2020? Like, dude.
Yeah.
Oh,
there was plans for a Fantasia 2006, but they got scrapped when Eisner left and they went under new management.
Yeah.
Also, this movie didn't do too well at the box office.
Yeah.
To be fair, the original didn't either.
Yeah.
That's true.
Which would explain why it took 60 years to make another one.
Yeah, they had to go through 2 Renaissance periods before they could do it again.
Yeah, it's still listed by Guinness Records as the longest time between sequels.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, I thought Bambi had that record.
Now, actually, when did Bambi 2 come out?
I'll look that up. Let's see.
Because the original Bambi, I think, was
1942.
And wasn't Bambi 2 2006?
Was it?
I feel like it was around that time.
I've seen it.
But yeah, even though it's straight to video, I think it would count. Okay. Minus 1942 is 64. So yeah, Bambi 2 took longer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but anyway, Fantasia 2000 is also kind of a tech demo. It's showing off the advancements within both 2D and 3D styles. You get blending of artwork in 2000 with the Pines of Rome. You get some more stylistic stuff in Rhapsody in Blue. And like I said before, I tested out my new sound system by playing Firebird.
Oh.
The first time I watched the Firebird segment, it was in my 6th grade music class. That heavy note once the Firebird wakes up it scared the crap out of me because it's so
I scared me too.
like like I'm pretty sure my heartbeat doubled.
Yeah, it's a scare chord. Stravinsky was a big fan of those.
Yeah, Haydn as well with his Surprise Symphony.
Yeah,
There
yeah,
is there is one thing that bothers me about this movie. They they just reused the Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Mm.
Like they needed to fill time. It's like, screw it, we'll just get the Sorcerer's
Yeah.
Apprentice.
I mean, it's not a
Why-
bad segment, obviously.
like it's a really good segment. It's iconic, but why they reused it?
Yeah.
We already saw it.
Yeah. I can't believe they got Penn and Teller to introduce that. As I like Penn
Oh,
and
dude.
Teller a lot, but they're at their best
I
when
love
they're
it.
not restrained.
right. The celebrity cameos kind of are a little glaring, but
Yeah.
but they're, to be fair, they're pretty short, and a lot of them do get to the point.
Yeah. I
Steve
like.
Martin in particular.
Yeah. I like how Pines of Rome was introduced by Itzhak Perlman.
Right.
Because I'm a violin player myself, and I love his work.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. And I like how with wait. Oh no, yeah, Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck, like they introduced their segment, and so watching this and the three Caballeros back to back is like, oh man, like this looks so much better, like cartoons in the real world.
Although I
That kind
will
of-
say I wasn't a big fan of Pomp and Circumstance. I'd say between the both movies, that segment is probably my least favorite.
Oh really?
Yeah. I've
Kind of is juxtaposing the wrong imagery for the piece
yeah.
and kind of a little bit cartoonish and over the top and out of place for a Fantasia bit.
Yeah.
I know the original had the Dance of the Hours, but that still at least went with the music.
Yeah, and even was it Carnival of the Animals? The
Yeah.
saison with the flamingo and the yo-yo.
Yeah.
Finale.
Like that was definitely sillier, but it fit the tone of the piece.
Yeah, and again, it synced with the music.
Yeah.
Do people
and,
make that short?
I think people just think it's kind of out of place in a Fantasia movie, but to be fair, it is only a couple of minutes long. I think it's the
Oh,
shortest one.
I
Yeah.
really liked it. It was,
I liked it too. I thought it was whimsical.
It was animated by Eric Goldberg. You can't go wrong with Eric Goldberg.
Right.
Now I'll say this. I mentioned this on Twitter already, but the Rhapsody in Blue segment is my favorite among all of Fantasia.
Yeah, top notch. It fits the tone. It does the art in a new way. It manages to blend the styles and feel both contemporary and classic with its arrangements. And I like how they use this arrangement too.
Yeah.
That was a really cool. That was a really cool one. I liked the art style very much.
Yeah.
And
This piece is in the public domain now, as of this year. It wasn't when it came out, so this was
Wow.
the only time they had to ask the estate holder to use it.
Wow.
like out of all the ones, it felt the most like a coherent, relatable story.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I can't relate to flying whales.
Right.
I mean, it's
Although
a
I
nice
will say-
spectacle, and you know it's a decent story too, and the ending
Okay.
shot where they're going above the clouds is incredible.
I was impressed by how well that CGI
Yeah.
aged.
Yeah,
Like, I was not expecting that.
yeah, but with Rhapsody in Blue, I appreciate how it's telling like four simultaneous stories that are all kind of loosely connected, and it doesn't feel too cluttered. See, Ralph Breaks the Internet. This is how you do that.
Yeah, and with no lines of dialogue either.
You brought up Ralph Breaks the Internet. I forgot to complain about how they completely shafted Felix and and what's his wife's name? Forgot.
The Jane Lynch character.
Yeah. Hang on. You guys keep talking.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah,
No.
again, not a line of dialogue. They just kept it all in, and there's even a George Gershwin cameo. If
Oh,
you
yeah.
caught it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is it's a fantastic segment. This got me the most emotional, and I think it's the combination of the way that they tell the story and just the fact that I love the piece so much.
Yep.
Like I've actually wanted to teach myself how to play this on the piano, but It is really complicated.
Remember, it is considered a concerto because it has a basis on piano. The version
Yes.
here, it for the orchestra is rearranged by Gert Gross, I think it is.
Hmm.
But yeah, Gershwin wrote it as a piano piece.
If you use a piano and use it really well, that's all it takes to really get me invested. It's part of why the Cat Concerto is my favorite Tom and Jerry short. I just love piano playing.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they did that. The first time it was actually in a movie was King of Jazz, all the way back in 1931.
Mm.
It was Bing Crosby and in his film debut playing that and it was sort of like a live action Fantasia of its time. It was different segments set to music, and Rhapsody in Blue was one of them.
I guess I don't have a whole lot else to say. What did you guys think of the Steadfast Tin Soldier one?
I like that one.
Did anyone notice how the Jack in the Box looks like Lord Farquaad?
Oh,
Really? I didn't.
and by virtue, Markiplier.
Uh,
Yeah. They changed the ending so that the Tin Soldier and the ballerina live.
classic Disney. They're take a Hans Christian Andersen story, remove the sad ending.
Waggity schmaggity doo. Pretty much. I do like I liked how the toys were they were presented with a different animation style when compared to like the rest of the world, like the humans picking them up or the animals. Like that was an interesting idea.
Yeah.
And
Right. Yeah, like with the soldier sailing down the drain, I learned in second grade that tin floats.
oh, really?
Really.
Yeah.
Well, good for the Tin Soldier.
And isn't it just a crazy coincidence that the fish that ate him is the same one that the original owner buys?
Yeah.
Oh, wacky antic.
uh, Steadfast and Soldier.
Right.
It's animated, fine. Story is incredibly convoluted, but it's whatever.
Yep.
I don't know why the other Tin Soldiers didn't try and save that ballerina from being sexually assaulted, but oh no.
Those bastards.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Want to get to the voting now?
Yes, I actually know the answer to this one already.
You were the swing boat.
All right. Here we go. The Three Caballeros 4, Fantasia 2000 6.
Oh wait, what? When I voted, it said 5.
Yeah, you have to refresh it for you to see.
Okay.
That's all right. Yeah, that's why I went back and rechecked.
Okay.
But it didn't change the outcome, so I think we can all agree that Fantasia 2000 was the superior one.
Yeah, this is and on paper, this is another big upset.
Yeah, another 12 seed. Treasure Planet being the other one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to be fair, with the Three Caballeros, they don't have Penn and Teller or Angela Lansbury
Yeah.
or
Or
James.
Rhapsody in
Yeah.
Blue.
Yeah, and they weren't fun and fancy free. I'll give them that. That was the other 12 seed that got unanimously shafted.
Yeah, but also this means 0 of the wartime films have advanced.
Yeah. Well,
Caballero-
let's not get ahead of ourselves. We've still got one more to go.
All right, yeah, let's not. But so far,
Another one.
All right. Our final matchup. The 4 seed, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. The 13 seed, Make Mine Music.
Winnie the Pooh.
I'm not even going to pretend to be. I'm not even going to attempt to be an objective judge for Winnie the Pooh because there's absolutely no point.
I find it interesting how all three of us have nostalgic connections to Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, it's just too charming, too nice. again, this started out as a series of shorts, but together as a movie with the added footage and the epilogue. Ooh, the epilogue.
Oh, that gets me every time. I was a sobbing
Right.
mess.
Yeah, but but as shorts on their own, they're good too. Blustery Day, the middle segment, that won the Oscar for Best Animated Short in '68.
Really?
Yeah, Walt won posthumously for that one. It was his last Oscar,
Yeah.
I think.
Wasn't that the introduction of Tigger?
Yeah, and it also gave us a Pink Elephants throwback.
Oh, Heffalumps and Woozles.
See, the Pink Elephants were fun. They're a little creepy, but at least there wasn't any malice with them. The Heffalumps and Woozles, they wanted to steal Pooh's honey.
Dude,
Now, from a story standpoint, it might not make much sense. From a Pooh lore standpoint, it's pretty integral because Heffalumps and Weasels do appear in the Pooh stories. One of them even, actually, Lumpy the Heffalump even becomes a major character later.
Yeah, he even becomes an opponent in Winnie the Pooh's Home Run Derby.
Oh, don't get me started on that.
I cannot believe that's a thing.
And also Lumpy's in Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah.
I find it funny though that I'm looking at the casting for this movie, and I find it funny how, because of the fact that this is 3 movies in one, like linked together, Christopher Robin has 3 different voice actors. because a little kid's voice is going to change between films.
And these were made like about 8 years apart.
Oh,
Yeah, Winnie Pooh and the Honey Tree came out in '66, Blustery Day came out in '68, and Winnie the Pooh and Tigger 2 came out in 1974.
Ah.
And this movie came out in 1977.
Same as The Rescuers.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah.
I wonder which movie we like more.
Yeah, I mean, Winnie the Pooh. This movie in particular, it is just so ingrained into my childhood. It's one of only 2 movies I can think of where without it I'd be a completely different person. The other being the original Toy Story. Which there's actually an ad for this in the 1995 VHS release.
Yeah, I rented one time.
For me, there are also 2 films that, if they did not exist, I would be a completely different person. Winnie the Pooh, obviously.
Yeah.
And the other is Shrek.
Ha, Shrek.
I'm with Nick. I feel like also I'm drawn to Toy Story because it came out the year I was born, and supposedly as a 5-month-old infant, I was taken to see it, which goes against all my ethics of movie going. But that's a different story. But Pooh, yes, is totally there. I watched the original film and I watched the 3 shorts apart, and it manages to still be good together. Pooh just embodies the idea of innocence and playfulness and just
I even had the interactive storybook for Windows 95.
Aww.
I had the audio cassettes. Those were, but yes, Pooh is just so wholesome and so ingrained in the psyche, and all the characters just come together in these.
At the same time, even though it's wholesome, it doesn't feel like too much wholesomeness. Like there's still a level of wit to the dialogue and like zaniness to the animation, where like, even as an adult, you can still appreciate it.
Yeah, there were little jokes I got in this that flew over my head when I was younger.
Like Piglet's grandfather's name was apparently Trespasser's Will.
Yeah, and then the beginning of the movie, Winnie the Pooh lived in the 100-acre woods under the name of Sanders.
Sanders?
Yeah. Specifically, a sign with the golden letters spelling out Sanders, under which Pooh lived.
Yeah, and the narrator's a character.
Yeah.
Like
he influences the ending of Winnie the Pooh and Tigger 2.
Deus Ex Machina for the win.
Literally.
And in the 2011 movie, they go even further with that by like having the letters be like physical manifestations, and like when they're making the ladder to get out of the hole, or like even in this movie where they're saving Tigger from the tree.
Or just sliding
This
down
is
the
meta
steps.
humor before meta humor became oversaturated.
Right.
Yeah, it was just the right amount.
Yeah. And
I think it helped.
one character in this that I feel is underappreciated is Gopher.
Aw,
The one who's not in the book.
I just like the way that he talks with the whistle.
Listen, I'm working the swingy stuff, you know.
it's Swing.
Also, by the way, Pooh is Disney's most lucrative brand, even over the fairies and princesses.
Really?
He's only behind Pokemon and Hello Kitty as the highest grossing franchise in the world.
You know,
I had no
Pooh
idea.
as a whole is worth $76 billion, roughly analogous
damn.
to the GDP of Oman.
Wow.
How is he that? I mean, I love Winnie the Pooh. Like, really? He's that?
Merchandising.
Wow.
I guess I really do underestimate the powers of merchandising. It's why Cars has 2 sequels.
Yeah, but it's why Pokemon's number one, not because
Yeah.
of the game, because of the merch.
Right.
Like nobody even likes the games anymore.
That's why it's ahead of Mario, despite being, I think it's more successful as a game franchise, but that's really all it has going for it.
Yeah, but Pooh is just so marketable.
Yeah.
You just see his face and it sells.
Yeah. You'll
10% that the Milne estate signed with Disney, that went a long way. That's still $7 billion.
yeah.
I remember the one meme where like somebody bought a Pokemon game and like they were disappointed with it, and somebody came up to him and said, don't worry about it. Even fans of the series don't like the games. I think that's it.
Yeah.
But with Winnie the Pooh, movies and everything is what keeps me coming back.
Pooh.
Exactly.
Yeah, Pooh. People still know about the Pooh movies, even with the merch.
Yes.
And all the memorable characters. You got Eeyore, Tigger, Rabbit. Everyone's here. It feels. I see a lot of inspiration, like from shows that I watch now, like especially with things like SpongeBob, where Rabbit is annoyed with Tigger and all that kind of stuff, and I'm thinking, oh, it's a Squidward and SpongeBob dynamic.
Also, Carrick, you see Ruby Gloom?
I have not. I've heard that it's really good.
I consider Ruby Gloom to be sort of like the modern Winnie the Pooh, because it's sort of like a cast of people who are wholesome and really good friends, and they have similar personalities to all the Pooh characters.
I'll check it out then. In that case,
You can
it's very solid.
I like how you're bringing up the SpongeBob comparison, because I'm just thinking of Tom Kenny voicing SpongeBob and the later reincarnation of Rabbit.
Yeah.
That's ironic.
We're making all sorts of connections here.
Full circle today.
Yeah. And, There's this one meme with Winnie the Pooh that was circulating last year. It was like,
with him in the couch.
like a picture of him sitting in Owl's chair, or was it Rabbit's chair? And
Rabbit's
then
chair.
the picture below, he's in this tuxedo.
And monocle.
I remember there was one where the top was Winnie the Pooh, the bottom Vincent the Feces.
Oh, but I have a favorite version of that meme. I know what you're talking about. First, I'm gonna post it.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
Copy image.
That wasn't what I wanted. Okay, I'll just say it then. Where like the first image is just Winnie looking normal, and it's Activision saying "pay for advantage." Then the next one is him in a tux, and it's EA saying "pay to win." And then the final one is him in a tux with a mustache, monocle, and top hat. It's Bethesda and says "pay to lose."
Wow.
But yeah, with rewatching for this podcast, I was able to point out the exact frame that became the meme.
And And now I'm thinking of when Family Guy did the Winnie the Pooh cutaway. Like, why Eeyore is always in such a bad mood.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
Like,
about.
why are you always in such a bad mood, Eeyore? Because I have a nail in my anus. Oh.
That's a good reason.
Uh,
Okay, I found the actual one.
uh, nice. Uh, man, this would be funny even without the captions. Just bringing up
Right.
Red Talks. I love that.
It's like, yeah, we get it. We totally get it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that bottom picture reminds me of when Meg was telling her family that they always act like they're better than her. It cuts to
Oh,
them.
bang! That is the least fancy thing I've ever heard.
It's funny how some of like the most hated episodes of shows like end up spawning the most infamous memes. Like that one meme where SpongeBob looks like a chicken.
Oh
It's
yeah.
from one of the most hated episodes of the show where Squidward reads his diary.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I like how Nature Pants has three images in rapid succession that all became memes.
It's one of the worst season 1 episodes. And one of the memes don't even look like an actual meme, where it's just like SpongeBob, like he looks a little tired.
or like like the "I'm a head out" meme is actually when he's sitting down.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the I'm a head out meme, but then there's a version where there's a second panel and he looks really sad and he's like, "Oh wait, I can't
Oh yeah.
because of the coronavirus."
Oh, yeah.
Mood.
It's like the Cadigarus running joke where he can't leave because the world was taken over by bricks. Uh,
I think we got a little off topic there.
Yeah. But are we good with Pooh?
yes.
I think the point is that we like Pooh,
Yes.
and I'm
Yeah.
sure we'll have plenty of other things to talk about with this movie when as the brackets go along.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't go wrong with Pooh Bear.
Yeah. I've got this one making it to the third round.
Right?
Good for Pooh Bear.
Yeah. All right. Make mine music. What is
Did
there
you
to talk-
remember the missing segment?
Sorry?
Did you remember the missing segment?
I did. Thank you for that, by the way.
Yeah, this is a movie Disney buries almost as much as Song of the South.
I mean this is what I'm talking about with, low votership. Like, this got a low amount of votes just because people aren't seeing Make Mine Music because it's not on Disney Plus.
Yeah, it was also the last of the Walt movie. It never got a theatrical re-release after its first run, and it was the last of the Walt era movies to be out on VHS.
I mean, I can kind of see why, like the jazz cat scene toward the beginning. Like,
Yeah, partially.
there's a lot of questionable moments there. Like, there's one part where this dude isn't dancing with this girl, and then the animator erases her ass to make it smaller, and then he's like,
I think again most of it comes from Martins and the Coys, which got cut from there.
Yeah.
I think because there's the scene where they just all freaking die.
yeah.
I didn't see that one. When I watched this movie, I didn't get to see that, so I don't know what actually happens in that short.
Well, while it's off of every existing cut of this movie, it did air on Disney Channel a few times, and one of the people who saw it there taped it and uploaded it to YouTube.
Good for that guy.
So yeah, Martin and the Coys, for the sake of completeness, is on YouTube if you want to see
Yeah.
the whole movie.
And I think it has another Goofy scream in it.
Yes, it does.
Oh, I forgot to mention, The Rescuers has 2 Goofy screams.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I totally cut. I was trying to find the Goofy screams because I wonder.
First one.
I know they sometimes put it in like a Wilhelm.
Yeah. They need to keep doing that.
Yeah.
There were a few segments in Make Mine Music that I liked.
Yeah.
I'm sure we mentioned it before, like Casey at the Bat, Peter and the
Yeah.
Wolf, the whale we
I like-
wanted to sing at the net.
Yeah, Casey and the Bad I appreciate just because I'm a big baseball guy.
Yeah, me too. And I just like the rhyming they do with it. And there's also a sequel to this segment where Casey has daughters who form a team.
Really?
Oh, Casey Bats again.
Yep.
Interesting. I actually haven't seen that. I'm just looking at the Wikipedia.
You
Yeah, I
cheater.
did see it. It's pretty funny. But I did like how this one was able to adapt the poem.
Okay. Yeah, and
Like,
it
it was
also
able to cover everything while still being catchy.
has major Looney Tunes vibes, which I
Yeah.
really dig.
Yeah. The first segment in the full release version, like after the McCoy's one,
Yeah.
Blue Bayou.
That
Blue
one,
Bayou.
that one was really boring. When I see music set to a Bayou setting, I'm thinking either Cajun music or Creedence Clearwater Revival.
It was set to Claire de Lune for Fantasia.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'll see if I can find the Claire de Lune
that might have
version.
might have been more fitting with the nighttime atmosphere.
Well, they
Yeah.
said that they have some. They mentioned Fantasia 2000. That one of the types of segments that they'll do is music for the sake of music and just like have random imagery. I think those are the least interesting ones because it's just kind of it's like they say it's just for the sake of it and there's not a whole lot to get invested in. I think that kind of is what Blue Bayou and Without You are
Yeah.
kind of.
Right.
Because the ones that we mentioned that are our favorites, like tell clear stories.
Right,
And that's
exactly.
part of why I think Melody Time is the superior film, because there were a few abstractions, but even the ones that were more just music driven still had a cohesive story, and at least Melody Time had an MC. There was-
I
there
need
was
to see Melody
there.
Time. I haven't watched it yet. Although, to be fair, I'm getting a little sick of these package movies
Yeah.
because I've seen so many in succession because I've never seen any of them, and so I'm watching them in preparation for this podcast, and I've seen so many. I'm like, dear God, I just want to watch something with a cohesive plot.
Yeah.
And then I see
mean-
Ralph Breaks the Internet, and I'm like, no!
Not that. And cohesive, being generous.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, of the package films, I think Melody Time is the best one. It only got 2 votes when it went up against
Hard.
Wreck-It Ralph, and Wesley and I were the only ones to give it those votes.
Aw.
Yeah.
I'll watch it anyway because you guys are saying how good it is. But
Yeah, I mean-
after that, I'm
The
done with
Johnny
package
Appleseed
films.
segment alone is worth watching.
I don't know if I can handle any more of it anymore.
Yeah, well.
I didn't grow up during World War II times, so I don't understand the appeal.
Yeah, well,
Right.
this week was mostly anthology movies. Next week it's going to be all single narratives. So, hooray for a return to normalcy.
Right.
All right.
But also the Peter and the Wolf segment, the wolf used to scare the bejibbus out of me.
Yeah.
Dude, I thought when the duck died, I was like, holy shit, things just got real. But then the duck came back, and I was like, well, that's a cop out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he was just hiding in that tree.
Yep.
Like I was not expecting the cop out. Like if that short had released like a few years ago in modern Disney, I would have expected the cop out. The cop out surprised me because this was from the 40s when Disney was a lot more abrasive towards children. Like
Yeah,
especially-
Snow White and Pinocchio came back, but they were effectively dead. There was no fake out. They had to be relieved.
and don't even get me started on that freaking donkey transformation scene. Oh my god.
Yeah.
And even in this movie, where they straight up kill the whale, they kill the whale.
You just wanted to sing, man.
God. Oh, and that whole thing. He was never singing at the opera. It was all what could have been. And then
Yeah.
and then that Ahab style conductor
Yeah.
or that music professor.
Teti, the opera director.
Ay.
You son of a bitch. Kill you.
What's funny is they let that in, but they cut out the Martins and the Coys who kill each other basically off screen.
Mm.
Oh,
I guess like they tried to play it off like as a happy ending because like he gets to sing in heaven. But it's like, don't you dare try to
no.
sing this.
And that's how this
You know
ends.
what
That's
you-
how the whole thing
you know what
ends.
you did.
It ends with a dying whale.
You know what you did. Own it.
And also props for Nelson Eddy for singing every voice in this movie.
Oh yeah, dude. Like, dude, that's even though the ending is a bit abrasive, it's still probably the best, by far the best short in this film.
Yeah,
That
just to have one guy sing in all three in every range and be able to sound distinctive. That's
talent.
Yeah.
I love Sterling Holloway to death. He will forever be one of my favorite just like voices ever in general. And so when he was talking Peter the Wolf, that made me love the segment. But when he talks, you know it's Sterling Holloway.
Yeah.
It's like there's no avoiding it.
Yeah,
But
it's like Patrick
with
Warburton today.
exactly, it's like I love the guy, but it's Patrick Warburton. I love Wallace Shawn. I love that man. It's Wallace Shawn though. You know it's him.
Yeah.
But with this one, it's just pure raw range, and I love it. I really love it.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I think if I were to rank all of the package films, I'd put Melody Time at the top.
Yeah.
I think I might follow that with. Honestly, I'm not really too sure. I might follow that with Ichabod and Mr. Toad.
Yeah.
Then Saludos Amigos and Three Caballeros. Actually, no. I'd put Make Mine Music in third place, and then I'd probably put Saludos Amigos, then Three Caballeros, and then Fun and Fancy Free at the bottom.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna watch Fun and Fancy Free.
Yeah, you can skip that one.
I hear it like it. One of the main plot points is the bears love beating the shit out of each other to show affection.
Yep.
Yeah.
Timeless messages, Disney.
It's okay, they're bears.
Well, again, Carrick, the good thing about this is we've already weeded out most of the package film.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
every single package film lost and lost hard.
Yeah.
Actually, no,
What
Three
else?
Caballeros was close.
Doesn't Fantasia 2000 count as a package film?
It's an anthology film, but I mean, would
Not
you count
made
the original
for
Fantasia as a
wartime, yeah.
package film?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah. The package films are generally considered to be the wartime era.
Yeah.
Between
I mean, with
1946
with Fantasia, they're all connected with a similar theme: animation set to music. With these package films, it's like you get what you're given, with
Well,
maybe a little something connecting them together, with the exception of Fun and Fancy Free, which is completely disconnected from each other.
you could argue that these films are also connected in the same way because they are technically animation being set to music, but when that's kind of a vague connection because literally everything animated has music in it,
Yeah.
and especially things from the 40s and 30s.
Right.
And Fantasia, it's all about the presentation.
Right.
And again, both animation and music are mediums based on timing and beats and rhythm. So
Mhm.
so the blending of the two is pretty natural. That's why they have so many animated musicals.
That's why Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry were so successful. Things like that.
Yep. And also, Make My Music does not actually feature the Seven Dwarves, who did make actual mining music.
Missed opportunities everywhere.
Make
Good job.
Mine music. Oh,
Yeah, I made this joke to Mike because early on he sent me a link to the movie because it's not on Disney Plus, and he told me that this was like a worse version of Fantasia.
Can we all just agree that Make Mine Music is a really stupid title that makes no sense grammatically?
Yeah.
It's an alliteration. It's clever. Therefore, it's
Yeah,
a good.
unless it's the German mine, make mine music. Make Mein Musik.
And considering when this movie came out, probably not a good idea for that.
Probably not.
Go to talk, plop, plop.
All right. Want to get to the voting now?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm actually curious about this one.
All right. Okay, here we go. Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, 8. Make Mine Music, 1.
Who's the one?
I don't know.
I was expecting that to be unanimous.
Yeah,
Not
but
actually.
I did notice at one point earlier today, all of the brackets got an additional vote, and this was where the one for Make Mine Music came, and that same person also voted for Three Caballeros over Fantasia 2000.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So,
Wait, how do you know it's the same person?
just because they happened around the same time.
Okay. Maybe they just did it because they wanted to be an individual.
Yeah, maybe they knew it
Maybe
wouldn't
out of pity for the wartime era.
Yeah, maybe they knew it wasn't going to affect the overall outcome, so they thought, why the hell not?
Hey, my grandfather fought in the war.
Yep. Okay, so for the stats of the pre-war Disney, we had 4 advanced right now, although all 4 have gotten buys, so take this with a grain of salt.
Mm-hmm.
We had 0 wartime era advance. For the Silver Age, we had Cinderella and 101 Dalmatians advanced so far. Dark Age gives us Rescuers, Fox and the Hound, and Winnie the Pooh. Then the Renaissance currently has 3, but again, 2 of them had the buy.
And the other one is The Little Mermaid.
Yep. Oh wait, 4. I forgot one.
Oh yeah, right.
Saying Winnie the Pooh and the
For the
Dark
Millennium Age, we had Emperor's New Groove, Fantasia 2000, and Treasure Planet.
Mm-hmm.
And for the modern revival era, we had 5.
Let's see, Princess and the Frog, Big Hero 6, Moana, Wreck-It Ralph, and Frozen.
Yep.
What did you call the era before the modern era?
Post-millennium.
Okay. I was just gonna say, dude, saying Winnie the Pooh and Dark Age in the same sentence just doesn't sound right.
Yeah, it's all relative. It's all relative.
I do consider Pooh to be the best from that era, though.
Well, considering his competition is stuff like Sword in the Stone and the Black Cauldron, it's not too surprising.
Yeah, there's
in fact, the Black Cauldron is Danny Sexbang's favorite Disney movie. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
All right, so there we go. That does it for Week 5, and we now have the first half of Class C's Round 2 matchups. We've got Pinocchio versus the Rescuers, and we've got Fantasia 2000 versus Winnie the Pooh.
All right.
All right, so let's do a quick preview for Week 6, and this is going to be unique in that it is the first week in Round 1 that has no buys. So
and only 1 or 2.
So instead of 6 movies, we'll be talking about 8.
Joy of joys.
And thankfully, this time around, it looks like our selection is going to be a lot more... a lot less esoteric, let's say.
Okay.
So, here's what we've got. Our first matchup is the 6 seed Tangled against the 11 seed Robin Hood.
Ooh,
and you know how you were saying earlier, Carrick, how Shrek was one of the movies that defined your childhood?
Was Robin Hood that for you?
No, but for the past week, I've had the Robin Hood segment stuck in my head.
It's where the hamster dance came from.
Well, yeah, dude, Shrek has shaped so much of my sense of humor and personality.
Allow me to introduce myself. Oh, merry man!
It's funny how that's not in Shrek the Musical, even though that is an actual musical number.
I love that scene and the one that follows where they're removing the arrow from Shrek's butt. Yeah, blue flower, red thorns, blue flower, red thorns, which would be so much easier if I wasn't colorblind. Okay. All right, next matchup. The 3 seed Zootopia against the 14 seed Atlantis, the Lost Empire. I feel like Atlantis is kind of another Treasure Planet situation where it's getting a heavy reevaluation well after the fact.
But it's up against Zootopia. That's the highest seeded Disney film from our lifetimes.
Exactly.
Atlantis. That's a movie I'm definitely going to need to watch in preparation for this.
Yes.
I hear it does have Cree Summer in it, so that'll be
Ooh.
interesting.
Yeah, it
There
does.
we go. Now I'm excited.
Which is, and actually as one of the main characters, so.
Ooh, double excited.
Yep.
And isn't Marty McFly the voice of the main character?
Yeah, he's in it.
Okay.
That's the only thing I know about the movie, though.
Yeah. So, all right. Next, we've got the 7 seed. We have the Great Mouse Detective going up against the 10 seed, the Aristocats.
Ugh.
The Aristocats. Oh,
that's gonna be one for the talking point.
Yeah,
Anyone who knows I take out Aristocats.
You need to get Whoopi Goldberg in on the podcast to be like, what you're about to see is a product of its time.
I know very little about this movie, but I do know about that scene.
This movie sucks. I'm just gonna say that.
All right. And finally, we have the 2 seed Aladdin, the highest seeded movie to not get a bye, against the 15 seed Chicken Little. I wonder how those votes are going to turn out.
What's funny is Chicken Little is not even the lowest seed.
Yeah.
I'm going to be very disappointed if somebody, like, even as a joke, just gives Chicken Little a vote. Like, no, you know what you did.
I'm probably going to be a little more lenient with Chicken Little because my associations with it right now are not the strongest, and that's less to do with the movie and more with how I heard about it.
Now, Chicken Little, you see, is not just hated for its quality, but also for what it represents.
I know that there are some people who probably like Chicken Little, but nobody likes Chicken Little more than Aladdin.
Right. Yeah.
Well, we'll see. Hey,
but next
fact,
week we'll talk about it. Chicken Little just represents like the nadir of the Disney company.
Guys, do you guys mind if I invite some of my friends into this server?
Not at all.
The more the merrier, so long as the server can handle it.
Yeah, I'll just ask around and see. I'll be like, we're talking about Disney movies every week. Who likes Disney movies? And everyone will raise their hand. Okay, but who likes Disney movies and has something intellectual to say about them? And then, like, more than half of the people put their hands down.
All right. All right. So that's a good plan for next week. So until then, once again, I'm Irish Husky.
I'm Raccoon Bro.
And I'm Wesley Hunt, Dr. W.
And I will see y'all next time. Take care.
Bye.